You're on a packed red-eye flight cruising high over the Midwest at night, cabin lights low and soft. Most people dozing or scrolling quietly in their seats. In seat 12F, right by the window, sits this young woman who looks like she could still be in high school, Mia, curled up with her head against the glass, a college backpack at her feet stuffed with notebooks. She seems like just a kid returning from break wearing a simple hoodie and jeans, blending completely into the background of families and business travelers. Then the captain's voice cracks through the intercom, urgent and laced with radio chatter from escorting military jets. Any former military aviation experience on board for coordination? Hold on, is Nova on this flight? Heads turn, whispers start, and Mia's peaceful doze ends in that instant. How could this unassuming college student have a call sign that makes F-22 pilots take notice? Mia stirred, her pulse quickening, hands beginning to shake lightly as she sat up straighter. The older passenger next to her turned. "Sweetie, you look like that name means something to you. Everything all right?" Mia swallowed, replying with a small smile. "It might. I should talk to the crew." She unbuckled, feeling the weight of curious glances. Tucked in her hoodie pocket was her anchoring object, a small metal dog tag necklace engraved simply with Nova, carried for years as a private link to a different chapter. The memories flowed as she walked the aisle, legs a bit unsteady. She had been a rare talent pulled into an elite training program straight out of high school. Colonel Hayes became her mentor at the base, guiding her through grueling simulator runs and live flights with firm but caring direction. After tough sessions, he'd say while they reviewed data, hands on his knees, "Kid, it's not just about the stick. It's about staying steady when the pressure builds." One clear night on the tarmac, F-22s gleaming under lights, he shared the prophetic line. The call sign doesn't fade when the uniform does. It lives in how you respond when it matters. She had taken it in stride, but after an injury cut her active time short, she shifted to college, thinking that world was behind her. The flight from Chicago to Los Angeles carried a full load of everyday folks, parents with restless kids, professionals tapping away, fellow students. The atmosphere felt routine with the hum of engines, recycled air carrying coffee scents, and soft conversations. An irrelevant detail lingered in Mia's mind, like the lady 2 rows back knitting a scarf that reminded her of base maintenance crews working late. Mia had boarded full of plans for her next semester, but the crisis built in stages. First an odd control vibration, then escalating alerts about systems, leading to military F-22s scrambling as escort for the developing emergency, the choice looming for anyone who could contribute. Stay with me here, because this goes deeper than fixing a flight issue. It's about a young person whose hidden skills challenge every assumption when lives hang in the balance. Mia reached the front and quietly offered her help. The crew's resistance came in layers. You look too young to have flown anything serious," the attendant said, polite but doubtful, eyeing her youthful appearance. The captain sounded hesitant over the link, and the F-22 pilots on radio initially brushed it aside with light remarks. Passengers nearby overheard and added their skepticism, one man muttering, "This has to be a joke at a time like this." Doubts stacked on her age, her casual look, no obvious credentials. Mia pulled the dog tag from her pocket, holding it up, its meaning shifting from personal memento to key evidence. She followed with a quick, accurate description of a classified coordination tactic. The F-22 pilots went silent, then professional. Nova confirmed, "Patching you through now." They arranged a spot for her near the cockpit area for direct comms. The real-time execution unfolded slowly, every second stretched. Mia's hands trembled slightly on the headset as she assessed the incoming data. Altitude holding but controls sluggish. Speed steady at 480 knots. "Copy, reduce throttle incrementally by 2%, she instructed, breath measured and focused. Step by careful step she guided them. "Now trim the elevators gently. Feel for the response through your instruments." The plane made subtle corrections. A crisis within the crisis emerged as a secondary electrical fluctuation threatened further instability. Her body stayed tense, posture straight. She coordinated precisely with the escort. F-22 lead, provide visual on our wing configuration. Dialogue stayed clipped and practical. In an unexpected moment of tenderness, she keyed the cabin speakers. "Hi everyone, this is Mia from 12F. We're handling this together one step at a time. Hang in there. Hang." The final approach built with deliberate detail, repeated altitude checks, speed bleed-off managed carefully, crosswind adjustments through tiny inputs, radio exchanges with ATC, and the fighters creating a rhythm. The prophetic line echoed in her thoughts as they lined up, the touchdown imperfect with a firm bounce and slight veer corrected at the last. But they rolled out safely. Tension released across the cabin in waves of sighs and quiet relief, bodies loosening in seats. The captain spoke first over the speakers, voice full of gratitude. "Nova, you helped bring us home." The skeptic passenger later found her in the terminal, head lowered. "I completely misread the situation, thank you." Official response came with airline thanks, military commendations, and quick debrief notes. Mia shared a brief, warm reunion conversation with Colonel Hayes afterward, the dog tag now hanging visibly around her neck. Weeks later, back in her college town amid lectures and late-night study sessions, life appeared ordinary but carried an inner difference, a steadier presence in her steps. During a quiet visit to the base, dog tag prominent, she sat with the colonel on a bench. "Did you ever expect the call sign to matter again?" she asked, words trailing off. He looked at her with a knowing nod. "It wasn't about expecting. It was trusting the person who earned it would respond right. You reframed the whole thing. What would you do if your past held skills that could save the day in a crisis, but sharing them meant pushing through layers of doubt from those who only saw your current self? No single right answer fits everyone." If this story moved you, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more original emotional tales on Z Stories and share it with a friend who appreciates stories of quiet courage. And in the end, picture Mia walking across the campus quad as dusk settles, fingers brushing her dog tag lightly while high above an F-22 leaves a thin contrail against the fading sky.